You're exhausted. Deep in your bones, beneath the caffeine and the forced smiles, you are profoundly, silently tired. You're tired because you are fighting an invisible, relentless war against reality itself. You plan every detail of your future. You try to script the behavior of the people around you. You manipulate circumstances. You push against closed doors, and you grip the steering wheel of your life so tightly that your knuckles have turned permanently white. You believe this is what it means to be driven. Society has told you that to be successful, you must hustle, grind, and force the universe to submit to your desires. You have been conditioned to believe that if something isn't working, you simply aren't pushing hard enough. But look honestly at the results of this philosophy. Your constant forcing has not brought you peace. It has brought you crippling anxiety. It has not brought you connection. It has brought you resentment. You're bleeding your premium mental energy into a void, trying to dictate a world that fundamentally refuses to be controlled. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Stoics recognized this desperate thrashing behavior as the ultimate form of human madness. Men like Marcus Aurelius, who commanded the vast and chaotic Roman Empire, and Epictetus, who survived the absolute powerlessness of slavery, understood a terrifying, beautiful secret. You cannot wrestle reality into submission. The more you attempt to force life to obey your preferences, the more you suffer. Ultimate power does not come from dominating the external world. It comes from the radical, unapologetic mastery of your internal alignment. It comes from knowing when to act and when to completely, ruthlessly let go. Today we are going to dismantle the exhausting architecture of your control issues. We are going to explore 7 brutal Stoic lessons that will fundamentally change how you interact with the universe. When you install these laws into your mental operating system, you will stop chasing, you will stop begging, and you will stop forcing. You will step out of the chaotic current of resistance and into a state of quiet, lethal flow. Before we rebuild your inner citadel, you must make a definitive choice. Are you going to continue banging your head against doors that were never meant to open? Or are you ready to discover the immense power of letting go? If you are genuinely tired of fighting the current of your own life, hit the subscribe button right now to join an elite echelon of sovereign minds. Share this video with someone who is currently drowning in their own need for control. And whatever you do, do not skip a single second of this guide. Every lesson we uncover is a critical piece of the armor you're about to put on. Seal your commitment to this transformation today. Drop this exact vow in the comments right now. I release my grip and I claim my peace. Number 1. The brutal severance of effort and outcome. The root cause of your chronic anxiety is a simple mathematical error in your psychology. You have fused your self-worth and your emotional stability to external outcomes. You believe that if you put in a massive amount of effort, the universe owes you a specific reward. You work hard on a business, so you demand that it makes you a millionaire. You pour love into a partner, so you demand that they never leave you. When you attach yourself to the outcome, you are attempting to play God. You are trying to dictate the chaotic, infinitely complex variables of the cosmos. And when reality inevitably refuses to match your rigid expectations, you break. The Stoic archer provides the ultimate cure for this delusion. When an archer draws his bow, he does everything within his power to hit the target. He controls his breathing, he accounts for the wind, he checks the tension of the string, and he aims with absolute lethal precision. But the exact fraction of a second that the arrow leaves his fingers, his jurisdiction ends. A sudden gust of wind could blow the arrow off course. The target could move. The string could snap. To stop forcing life, you must adopt the mindset of the Stoic archer. You must violently sever the cord between your effort and the final result. Your duty is to show up, do the grueling work, act with supreme integrity, and execute your daily tasks flawlessly. That is your kingdom. Rule it. But the outcome is none of your business. When you stop forcing the universe to hand you a specific trophy, desperation vanishes. You work with a chilling magnetic calmness because you know your success is defined by your discipline, not your rewards. Lock in your true jurisdiction right now. Comment below. I command my effort. I surrender the result. Number 2. The assassination of the artificial timeline. You're walking around with a heavy invisible stopwatch ticking in your mind. You feel a suffocating pressure because you're not married by 30, because you're not a millionaire by 40, or because you haven't reached the pinnacle of your career by a completely arbitrary age. You are rushing your life. You are making desperate, low-quality decisions because you feel like you are falling behind. You're trying to force a harvest in the middle of winter. This timeline you are worshipping is completely fraudulent. It was written by a society that profits off your perpetual inadequacy. The Stoics understood that nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. You cannot force a flower to bloom by pulling on its petals. You will only destroy it. Your delays are not punishments, they are preparations. The years you spent wandering, the businesses that failed, the relationships that collapsed, they were the exact mathematically precise curriculum required to build the specific gravity you need for the next chapter of your life. When you try to force your timeline, you bypass the necessary friction that builds your character. You must smash the societal clock. You must realize that comparing your deeply complex, entirely unique path to the curated highlight real lives of strangers is an insult to your own destiny. You are not late, you're not early. You are operating on the precise frequency required for your ultimate evolution. When you stop forcing the pace, the frantic panic dissolves, and you settle into the quiet, terrifying rhythm of your own mastery. Reclaim your temporal sovereignty today. Type this. I operate on my own unshakable timeline. Number 3. The strategic withdrawal from changing others. Think about how much of your premium mental bandwidth is spent trying to force other people to change. You try to force a toxic parent to finally give you the approval you crave. You try to force a distant partner to love you the way you want to be loved. You construct elaborate arguments to force a fool to see your point of view. You're pouring oceans of energy into a black hole. Epictetus taught that trying to control what is not yours is the fast track to misery. You cannot logic someone into emotional maturity. You cannot love someone into respecting you. You cannot force someone to see your worth if they are committed to misunderstanding you. When you try to force people to change, you're essentially telling the universe that your peace of mind is dependent on the actions of a person who does not even have control over themselves. It is the ultimate forfeit of power. You must practice the ruthless art of letting people be exactly who they are. If someone is inconsistent, let them be inconsistent. If someone is disrespectful, observe their behavior, log it as data, and adjust your boundaries accordingly. You do not need to change them. You only need to change your proximity to them. When you stop dragging people, kicking and screaming toward the light, you reclaim all of that wasted energy. You step back into your own center, entirely unbothered, knowing that the only human being you will ever be required to fix is yourself. Declare your emotional independence right now. Comment below. I do not change others. I elevate myself. Number 4. The weaponization of amorati. Most of your suffering comes from a deep subconscious argument with reality. You're constantly fighting against what has already happened. You say, this shouldn't have happened to me, this is unfair, they shouldn't have left, I shouldn't have lost that money. You're trying to force the past to rewrite itself, beating your fists against a brick wall of established facts. When you resist reality, reality wins 100% of the time. The most lethal shift in Stoic philosophy is the practice of amor fati, the love of one's fate. It is not merely tolerating the bad things that happen to you. It is the radical, shocking decision to embrace everything that happens to you as if you had chosen it yourself. When you stop trying to force your life into the narrow, comfortable box of what you wanted to happen, you open yourself up to the vast, terrifying power of what is happening. The betrayal that broke your heart. Thank you. It taught me how to set unbreakable boundaries. The job you lost. Thank you. It forced me to stop settling for mediocrity and build my own empire. When you fall in love with your fate exactly as it is, you become a truly dangerous individual. Because how can the world possibly defeat a person who uses everything that is thrown at them, every insult, every failure, every tragedy, as fuel for their own ascent? You stop asking the universe for an easy life, and you start asking for the broad shoulders required to carry a great one. Anchor your invincibility today. Drop this vow in the comments. I do not fight reality. I use it as fuel. Number 5. The execution of desperate energy. There is a law of human dynamics that governs every relationship, every negotiation, and every opportunity on earth. Desperation repels and detachment attracts. When you try to force a connection, when you double text, when you beg for a seat at the table, when you compromise your values just to secure a deal, you of desperation, you signal to the world that you are incomplete. You communicate that you are operating from a profound deficit and that you need them in order to survive. The world does not respect lack. It respects abundance. To stop forcing your life, you must completely execute this desperate energy. You must cultivate a sovereign posture of absolute completeness. You walk into the job interview and your energy says, I would love to work here, but if I don't get this, my life remains completely intact. You enter the relationship and your posture says, I desire your company, but I absolutely do not require it to survive. When you genuinely, deep within your bones, stop needing the outcome, your entire frequency shifts. You stop grasping, you stop begging. And the profound irony of the universe is that the moment you stop desperately needing things to work out, they begin to effortlessly flow toward you. People are magnetically drawn to those who do not need them. Opportunities flock to those who are not desperate for them. When you stop forcing the world to give you water, you suddenly realize you are the ocean. Reclaim your sovereign posture right now. Type this: I am already whole. I chase nothing. Number 6. The profound dominance of strategic inaction. We have been conditioned to believe that action is the solution to every problem. When we feel anxious, confused, or threatened, our biological impulse is to do something. We send the angry email. We make the impulsive purchase. We quit the project prematurely. We try to force a resolution because sitting in the tension of uncertainty feels physically unbearable. But frantic action driven by anxiety is not progress. It is destruction. The Stoic masters understood the terrifying power of strategic inaction. Sometimes the most dominant authoritative move you can possibly make is absolutely nothing. When the waters are muddy, trying to clear them with your hands will only make them worse. You must have the supreme discipline to sit perfectly still and wait for the mud to settle. When you are unsure of your next move, do not force a decision. When someone provokes you, do not force a counterattack. Stand your ground, close your mouth, and let the silence do the heavy lifting. By refusing to act impulsively, you protect your premium energy. You observe the board while everyone else exhausts themselves running in circles. When you finally do make your move, it is not a reactive spasm of fear. It is a calculated lethal strike of pure intention. Commit to the discipline of the pause. Comment below. I conquer chaos through strategic stillness. Number 7. The radical acceptance of endings. One of the most painful ways you force your life is by clinging to things that have already died. You hold on to a relationship that has been toxic for years because you are terrified of being alone. You hold on to a career path that drains your soul because you are afraid of starting over. You refuse to let go of the comfortable, outdated version of yourself because the unknown future feels like a void. But nature demands seasons. Trees do not force their dead leaves to stay attached in the winter. They drop them willingly into the freezing snow, knowing that making space is the absolute prerequisite for new growth in the spring. If you want to transform your reality, you must learn to become an expert at letting things die. You must stop performing CPR on dead connections, dead dreams, and dead habits. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." The universe cannot hand you the magnificent, expansive life you are meant for if your hands are permanently clenched around the scraps of your past. Letting go is terrifying. It requires grieving. It requires facing the vast empty space of the unknown. But it is only in that empty space that your true architecture can be built. When you stop forcing the old doors to stay open, you finally gain the clarity to see the new ones that have unlocked. Release your heavy burdens today. Leave this vow in the comments. I let go of what is dead to make room for what is living. This is the path to the unshakable mind. It is not found in pushing harder, yelling louder, or forcing the universe to obey your ego. It is found in the brutal, beautiful discipline of surrender. When you sever your effort from the outcome, when you smash the artificial timeline, when you stop trying to fix others, when you weaponize your fate, when you execute your desperation, when you master strategic stillness, and when you finally let the dead things go, you cease to be a frantic prisoner of your own desires. You become the quiet commander of your reality. You will look around at the masses, people who are constantly offended, constantly exhausted, constantly struggling against the current, and you will feel a profound sense of detachment. You're no longer playing their game. You have stepped off the battlefield of resistance and entered the sanctuary of flow. Will it be comfortable? No. Your ego will scream at you to take control, to force the issue to react. But you are no longer the person who negotiates with their ego. You are a sovereign entity. If you have stayed in the fire with me until the very end of this transmission, it proves that you possess a rare, undeniable hunger for true mastery that the vast majority of the world completely lacks. You're not a spectator. You're an architect. Prove your commitment to your own evolution right now. Hit the like button to lock in your progress today. Share this uncompromising truth with a friend who is fighting their own quiet battles and desperately needs to remember their power. And make absolutely sure you are subscribed to join the ranks of those who live with complete unshakable intention. Leave your final unbreakable declaration in the comments below. I stop forcing, I start flowing, and I conquer my life. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, guard your inner citadel. I will see you in the next one.